And welcome to Alouettes Flightdeck, podcast dedicated to Montreal Alouettes football, presented by SportBuff. I'm your host, Tim Capper, along with Cliffy D. Cliffy D. Welcome to the 7th season premiere of the Alouettes Flightdeck podcast.
Lucky number 7. I can't believe it.
Yep.
I mean, this is exciting, folks. I mean, the fact that we've been at this now for a little while, and we're not stopping anytime soon. You know, we took our little break, our little off-season break, and we're ready to start slowly getting back in the saddle and get back to what we love doing, which is entertaining each and every one of you members of the CFL family, the CFL universe. We want to get you guys hyped for the 2022 CFL season and the Montreal Alouettes.
Oh, for sure. And just want to remind you guys, I mean, you can find Cliff on Twitter at Cliffy D. You can find myself at Repact. That's REPPACT. You can find our main account over at Alouettes Flightdeck. You can also find us on Twitter. You can search for Alouettes Flightdeck Pod. You can find us on Instagram at Alouettes Flightdeck. What else? What else have I forgotten here?
YouTube?
YouTube, that's right. And speaking of YouTube, by the way, and yes, we're still running the contest for a free, new with tags, throwback Delta logo jacket, satin jacket on top of that. It's a sweet, sweet thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at our numbers, we want to get to 100, and we're going to give this away to anybody. So if you haven't done already, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button or the subscribe button. Because, so far only 57% of you who listen on YouTube are subscribed. If we had that other 42% of you, we'd be at 100 already. But that's the goal. So, hey, head over to YouTube, just do a search for Alouettes Flightdeck, and you'll find us. And if you haven't already, as I said, smash that subscribe button. So,
and folks, I want to make something very clear. I know with YouTube, people expect videos, and right now it really is just an audio version of the podcast, but that will be changing this year. I can promise you that we are taking the steps to improve our YouTube presence. So you'll want to get it on the ground floor. Like, hit that subscribe button, get ready. Again, someone is going to win a very sweet Alouettes retro jacket. Tim owns one. I own one. They're amazing. And you guys now have the potential to own one as well. So go ahead, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your family members, tell your coworkers, tell whoever. Let them know about the Alouettes Flightdeck podcast on YouTube.
That's right. And all the other social media locations where you can get podcasts and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you've been with it long enough, but make sure you let everybody else know. Mm-hmm. So, a unique, it's a little bit of a different off season. I wanted to ask you, Cliff, in the time since our last show till now, anything uniquely CFL or Alouettes that you'd happen to do? Just to get everybody caught up with the old Cliffy D?
To tell you the truth, not really. I mean, it was, like I said, after last season ended, it was kind of like, okay, it's over. We finally got football back after a year off, and that was great in and of itself. The Alouettes did okay, but there's a lot left to be desired, I found. And to me, it was when I was thinking about this offseason, it was like, okay, what can the Alouettes do to, I don't want to say maintain, because maintaining, you can only go so far. We want better for this organization. We want better for this football team. And I want to know what this team is going to do to make itself better. What moves can this team make to improve themselves for the 2022 season? And let me tell you, folks, the moves that have been made so far have been pretty astounding, quite frankly.
It's true. And nobody wants to stay stagnant at all. You don't want your team to stay stagnant. I mean, you always want to have some additions to your team, because with free agency, especially right now in the CFL, it's crazy. But I know that before we talk to that, I mean, we did have props to the team for bringing back the locker room sale, but it was held over at the warehouse. I know you weren't able to make that. I wish you had, but I mean, there were some great deals. So, and I know there could be some slight modifications to the guys over at the warehouse this year. So stay tuned to their socials and to the team website, because and I think I've been told there are going to be some changes, or at least some modifications. Mm-hmm. And I've gone on a kick here, Cliff, where I seem to be wanting to pick up these, what I would consider, when it comes to collecting things, you always want to pick up something that you think is rare. It's not necessarily that somebody else would think is rare, but what you think is rare. I've gone on a kick to picking up old Alouettes pocket schedules, and I bought a few over the little while. I'm expecting a couple more to come in. So,
well, you've never been shy about your love for the pocket schedules and
damn
how much
straight,
you
baby.
miss them. So this is hardly a surprise at all. So I mean, and they're cool. I mean, you showed me a couple of them, and I tell you, like, it is amazing the artwork that they are. When you really think about it, like a lot of people would just get these things and they don't even give it a second thought. But I mean, like if you actually sat down and looked at these things, especially over the years, the designs that went into them, the graphics, everything like that, and just that progression from like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and all the way to the late 90s and into the 2000s. Like, it's incredible, just the detail and everything that's gone into it. Like, yeah, I can understand why, Tim, that you are, you're constantly waxing nostalgic for these things. And yeah, I mean, I do kind of think it's kind of gotten prehistoric now, unfortunately, with everything being digital. But
I know. Even with tickets now too, man. I mean, I'm not happy that the Alouettes have decided to do, go full digital again this year with tickets. But from what Mario told us in the last episode, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do so over at alouettesflightdeck.ca. And hopefully we'll get something that will remind us of the season, then rather than just the season ticket card / ticket that we would get. But yeah, but to what we were talking before, I mean, some of the things are unique. I mean, I showed you the 1963 one. Mm-hmm. It's in the shape of the football where they actually gave them away when they had, training camp over in Joliet. I mean, these things are cool, man.
Oh, big time. No, it's, like I say, like a non-fungible token wouldn't exactly have that same nostalgia. I don't see it having that same nostalgia 20 years from now when you talk about like collectors of today of what what's hot and what people are excited about. I don't think it'll be like that in 20 years. But these pocket schedules, though, I mean, it is a snapshot of like a moment in time, if you will.
Yeah, and you know what? You're talking about NFTs. Makes me wonder if this whole thing with the CFL and their new partners, if they're going to bring NFTs where. I think the NFL did one where it was their collectible. They did NFTs of Super Bowl tickets, if I remember correctly. Something to that effect. But anyways, I digress. And one of the things I did pick up or talk about the locker room sale, I got myself a Geno Lewis game worn jersey from 2021. By the way, speaking of Geno Lewis, hey Cliff, he's our guest this week.
Oh, what a perfect segue. Absolutely excellent. And we were so excited to talk to Geno. It's been a hot minute since we've had him here on the podcast. And he himself has been jonesing to get on. Like, we actually saw him very briefly in Ottawa last year. And he's like, guys, I got to get back on the podcast. I'm like, okay, we'll make it happen. Took a little doing, but the timing just wasn't right. But finally the stars aligned, and we have Geno on this evening to chat with us. And let me tell you, folks, it's always a pleasure to talk to Eugene Lewis. The guy is just so bright. He's so intelligent and just so much fun to chat with. So stay tuned for that, because it is a banger, as the kids say.
Okay. I'm not one of those kids. You were talking about slight changes, how we don't want to say stagnant. Always want to be able to get better. Going forward into the next season, the Alouettes did, not only did that, I would say with the players that they picked up in free agency, but they also did that when it came to the coaches and returning vets and returning names that are coming back to the team for 2022.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I laughed, like, after the Grey Cup was over, and we all know what happened. I mean, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats again for the second straight season to win the Grey Cup. And the one thing that was talked about the most was the coaching staff for the Tiger Cats. There was a lot of speculation that perhaps Orlando Steinhardt was just going to blow the whole thing up and start anew. And I thought to myself, boy, if there's no spot for Jeff Reinbold with the Tiger Cats anymore, I would have him back with the Alouettes in a heartbeat. And it felt like at the time it was just like one of those pie in the sky kind of things, because the dude is incredibly talented when it comes to special teams. He loves football at all levels. I mean, he could write his own ticket as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you know it, Jeff Reinbold is back with the Alouettes as special teams coordinator. Holy crap.
Yeah.
And we had Jeff on last season.
Yep.
While he was still a member of the Tiger Cats coaching staff. And what a great chat that was. Make sure you go into the archives and check it out, folks, if you haven't already, because it is sensational. And I am so excited at the prospect of being able to chat with Coach Reinbold again, knowing that he's going to come here, help out the special teams unit, which I'm sorry to say has been the Achilles heel for the Alouettes over the past, but for the better part of this past decade. Special teams has been the Achilles heel for the Montreal Alouettes.
It's been one thing or another, whether it's been the coaching or how well they were doing, or it's just having somebody and them getting hurt, which is really what the case was last year. Wow. Was it Itty Bitty who we would say the last time? I called him Itty Bitty, which was their last real productive returner?
Oh, it's been ages. Let me tell you. I mean, like, no matter what, when it comes to the Alouette special teams, there's always been problems. So why wouldn't you want to bring in the best of the business? And tell you what, folks, say what you will about Jeff Reinbold. Say what you will about the infamous decision that happened during the Grey Cup this year, which I believe he had nothing to do with when it was all said and done. The fact of the matter is, Jeff Reinbold will improve the special teams of the Alouettes by leaps and bounds. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget, he went to the past 2 Grey Cups. He was a part of their coaching staff. Didn't win, but he was very much a part of it. They got to the Grey Cup because their special team, amongst other things, their special teams was outstanding. And if he can do just half of that with Montreal, that'll be a major, major improvement from what we've seen over the past few years. I am beyond excited to see what Jeff Reinbold can do for the Montreal Alouettes as special teams coordinator. I know that Danny Machocha, he's made some moves already, and I'm curious to see just who all is going to be a part of the special teams unit. One thing I know for sure, Coach is going to have these guys ready to go, and he's going to bring out the very best in guys like Mario Alford and Fabian Guerra and anyone else who's going to be potentially lining up at the returner position, because you're going to want to run through a wall for Coach Reinbold. These guys are going to be hyped playing for him, and he's going to be hyped coaching these guys. So I am extremely, extremely excited to see what's going to happen in 2022 with Jeff Reinbold back in Alouettes blue and red. And
also we got a legend back. He's come back home, so to speak.
Absolutely. And you talk about the quarterback position here in Montreal, and having Vernon Adams here is a blessing as far as I'm concerned. This is our quarterback, without question. As far as I'm concerned, it is undisputed that this is Vernon Adams' football team. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I've always been concerned about, though, is with Kahari Jones as the head coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterbacks coach, I often wondered just how much coaching the quarterbacks here in Montreal actually truly got, to the point where it's like, okay, maybe this is one of those things that Kahari, who was a great quarterback in his own right back in the day, maybe he's just spread a little too thin with his current duties, that maybe the quarterbacks just aren't getting the attention or the love that they need.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Why not bring in someone who knows this team, knows this city, knows what it takes to be a successful quarterback in the Canadian Football League,
and now has some coaching experience under his belt.
Real, honest to goodness coaching experience. This is not being thrown into the fire like he was in the, was it 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
Like he's thrown into the fire, and everybody expected him to be great because, hey, it's AC. Of course he's going to be great. Like, no, it takes a good long time. You have to pay your dues when it comes to coaching. It doesn't just happen overnight.
No, it does not.
And I think AC knew that. He understood that, and he had to step away from the organization. He had to go and pay his dues, learn the trade, so to speak. And he did that. He did a great job with the Montreal Carabins, got them to within one game of being in the Vanier Cup last season. Mm-hmm. I mean, as far as coaching goes, he is improved by leaps and bounds, and I'm beyond excited to see what he can do with a guy like Vernon Adams Jr. at the helm. So, and I think BA's got to be excited too to have a legend that knows this game, that understands what it takes to win in Montreal and the pressure that comes with being the quarterback here in Montreal. If anyone can relate to what Vernon Adams is going through, it is Anthony Calvillo. And I'm excited to see just what kind of wisdom he can impart on young VA, and what he can do, what little things he can teach him to make him become, like, to help him become that next level quarterback that I know he can do. I think all he needs is just a little bit of what do you call it?
No, basically some veteran mentoring. I think that's really what it is.
I think that's what it is. It's just someone that's like, hey, man, I got you. Let me show you the ropes, kind of thing. Like, just the mental aspect of football. I mean, we know what Vernon Adams can do on the field. As I said, it's undisputed what he's been able to do. Well, good or bad, this is the guy you want leading your team. But now I think with Anthony quarterback as his coach to help mold him and shape him into the quarterback that we know he can be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help but be excited about this. And I tell you, I am just as excited as I was for Jeff Breinbold to come back and see what he can do with the special teams here. I'm really excited to see what AC can do with the quarterbacks here in Montreal, up to and including Vernon Adams Jr.
Okay, the quarterback situation in Montreal is going to be different, anyways, because of free agency. You know, we lost Matthew Schultz to Hamilton. We lost Shea Patterson to the USFL. You know, that came out of nowhere, and him going number 1 overall in their draft. That was unexpected. But now we have Dominic Davis and a very surprising Trevor Harris again. With the Alouettes,
who we have to say was released. During our last show, he was still technically a member of the Alouettes, and then was released in order to not have to pay him this $300,000 bonus that was due on February 1st. So they were upfront. I mean, they told him what was up, and they said, "Listen, we're releasing you. Try your luck at free agency. We'll see what happens." And I had to laugh because all the prognosticators, all the talking heads, they're all speculating as where could Trevor Harris go? He still has a lot of value. He still has they were really pumping him up, despite the fact that he went 1-4 as an Alouette. But again, there's still I even went so far as to say, you know what? I think there is a value in Trevor Harris as a backup quarterback. It's just where can he go and mentor someone if he's interested in that role, which I wasn't too sure if he was interested in that, because as far as he was concerned, he was still QB1. He still felt like he could be a starting quarterback in this league, which is fine. And you know what? That's the kind of confidence you have to have in yourself, because if you don't believe that, how do you expect anyone else to believe that? I get that. But imagine our surprise, day 1 of free agency. It comes and goes, and I was part of the Canadian Football Countdown show, which was a lot of fun to be a part of. And, the Alouettes had made a few moves here and there, and, sign off, think nothing of it, go relax. And I'm scrolling through Twitter and seeing what's doing, all that. And then I see the news. Alouettes re-sign Trevor Harris. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
I think all of us were. And again, as I said, yes, it is fair that he had a limited time to learn the playbook. But again, it'll make camp interesting this year. And by looks of things, with all things going at least the way that they currently are, when it comes to health restrictions, yada, yada, that we'll be able to see this. We'll be able to see how at least these three names that we currently know that we think that will be, vying for the number 1 spot or trying to dethrone VA. Let me put it that way. Because that's really the way that it is. Mm-hmm. To see how well they play, and we'll get to see some preseason games too. So it'll be interesting.
I think I hesitate to use the term "go back to normal," but it really does feel like, at least based on what the Alouettes are planning so far, and the rest of the Canadian Football League, is we're getting a lot closer back to "quote unquote" normal when it comes to that. And if we're able to attend training camp like we should be able to, we get preseason games again. And we're going to be back to a full 18 game schedule. I mean, that's exciting right there. I mean, that's what we've been wanting for the longest time. And if we're able to get all of that again, as we should, I mean, how do you not get excited? How do you not get, just fired up at the prospect of another CFL season?
Exactly. And obviously, before we get to the interview with Geno, this being the season premiere of the show and whatnot, because we will be talking about it more in the next couple of shows, because during the off season we do them once every 2 weeks. Do the shows once every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm.
Or if major news breaks,
exactly. Any other names that stood out to you that the Alouettes may have picked up or have lost in free agency?
The one theme that really came about as leading up to the actual day of free agency is I really got the impression that Danny Machosa really wanted to get the band back together, or at least keep the nucleus together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, he extended Geno, he extended VA, he extended guys like Nick Usher. Like a lot of the core guys, if you will.
Yeah.
Adding on Dominique Davis, I thought was kind of interesting because, I think we were really hoping that Matthew Schultz would stay in Montreal, and I think there's a little part of him that wanted him to stay in Montreal too. But obviously, you got to take care of yourself. You got to get the numbers right, and if the numbers aren't right here, then you go where you go where someone's going to appreciate you and treat you right. And
Yeah.
I think that's really what it was with Schultze. And of course, we definitely wish him all the best, except when the Tiger Cats play the Alouettes.
Of course, of course.
But when it came to Dominique Davis, that was one of those kind of under the radar, like during that legal tampering, if you will.
Yeah.
It was discussed that Dominique Davis was going to sign with the Alouettes. I'm like, okay. I mean, I remember the Dominique Davis that was, I think, a third stringer in Winnipeg. And he actually was a decent quarterback. Like, not outstanding, not flashy, but I think, one of those quarterbacks that, given the right environment, could turn into something. He ended up going to Ottawa for the past couple of years and didn't do a whole heck of a lot, to tell you the truth. And I just don't know if that's a matter of the system just not working for him, or the offense just wasn't quite what he is suited for. I don't know, but
or the O-line was just horrible.
That's possible too. I mean, let's tell you, to succeed in the Canadian Football League, you need a great quarterback and a top-notch O-line. If you don't have any of those, you're in big trouble. Yeah, and I think it could very well be that's what it was in Ottawa too. Because I mean, look at the overall haul they had to do this offseason. It's like, holy cow! Like, this is a completely different team.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of a completely different team, we look at the defense. Al did lose quite a few defensive guys, enough so that defensive veteran Greg Reed really said his piece on social media. Was not happy. For those who happen to miss who the Alouettes lost and who we may have gained to replace them, but give us a quick synopsis on defense and free agency.
Yeah, we definitely lost a lot of solid guys. Ty Cranston, Taekwon Glass, Money Hunter, Patrick Levels, they've all flown the coop, so to speak. Woody Barron, who was a mainstay on the defensive line, he's also hit the road. I mean, this is definitely going to be a completely new look defense in a lot of ways. I think really what it comes down to is the Alouettes will have faith in the people that are here and the ones that they've added, because there's a lot of young guys too that are just kind of waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
And I think this is their opportunity now to shine. Like, now you don't have to worry about competition of having these veterans here. Like, okay, this is your opportunity. This is your stage to prove that you belong here. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to. I mean, the Alouettes did add a couple of defensive stars like Avery Ellis, Mike Jones from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who did help them win a Grey Cup. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No,
I mean, that's Darius Williams, who is, I think, one of those sneaky good signings. I think he's someone who's going to make a lot of noise if given the right opportunity. And realistically, I mean, there's still lots of possibility. I mean, believe it or not, free agency is still kind of ongoing.
It is.
And I think the Alouettes will probably add and subtract as needed. And of course, let's not forget the draft is coming up, and there's some pretty good defensive studs that are there as well that, you just kind of add on to it, if you will. So, I mean, I am concerned a little bit about the secondary. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you've got Greg Reed, you've got Najee Murray. These are your stay-at-home guys that are going to be outstanding no matter what. Marc-Antoine Decoy, if he can stay healthy, can definitely be a difference maker. Honestly, I'm concerned with the secondary, but at the same time, with those guys at the helm, and you get those like diamond in the roughs that will come in and make a lot of noise. Rodney Randall, don't forget, he was one of those guys that had been sort of biding his time on the practice roster, and then towards the end of the season, he came on and he really showed out as well. So I'm expecting a lot out of him as well. I think I can understand the concern, like you don't, like, especially like a Money Hunter or Patrick Levels. They're not so easy to replace those guys. But I think with the young talent that's here in Montreal so far, I think if given the chance, given the right schemes, and listen, you got Baron Miles still as your defensive backs coach / defensive coordinator. So you're going to be coached properly, if nothing else. I think it's just a matter of give these guys a chance to shine. Let's see what happens. And the nice thing is you still have that flexibility to make moves, whether it's through the draft or adding people as training camp goes on, because a lot of guys are going to get cut as well. Let's not forget.
That's true. And also, too, it kind of sting to us losing our defensive MOP nominee in David Menard.
Big time. Actually, it was Most Outstanding Canadian.
Sorry, Most Outstanding Canadian. Yeah.
But, it's, again, one of those guys that difficult to replace, despite the fact he wasn't a starter. This is going to blow my mind for the longest time, and I'm curious what it was about why he decided to go back to the BC Lions. I thought he would have been very happy here in Montreal, but sometimes it just sometimes you can't go home again. So it is what it is. Definitely wish him all the best because he was definitely one of the good ones. It was definitely so much fun to watch. And I have no doubt in my mind he's going to go out to BC and he'll ball out like he does. So, more power to him. But now this is just going to be a chance for others to step up and make their presence felt. One name in particular that's kind of interesting to me for that defensive line is Vincent Desjardins, who was drafted by the Calgary Stampeders and is now going to come here and help shore things up. It's one of those guys also too that's just you don't hear a lot of, but he's one of those blue collar kind of guys, work lunch pail types. He comes in, he does his work, works hard, and he can make stuff happen. So I'm curious to see how he's going to gel with the likes of a Michael Wakefield, Nick Usher, and so on. I think it's going to be interesting when it's all said and done.
Yeah. And now, as promised at the beginning of the podcast, here is our interview with Alouettes wide receiver Geno Lewis. And back with us again on the podcast, a gentleman who has made a hell of a name for himself in the CFL and is slowly becoming one of the fan favorites, if not already a fan favorite for the Montreal Alouettes. Number 87, wide receiver Geno Lewis. Hey, Geno, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, man, thank you guys for having me on again. I appreciate it.
It's been a while.
I know,
Last time we had you on was back in 2019, and a lot has happened since then. So I think we're overdue to get caught up with you, Geno. So let's do this. Let's find out what's going on with Eugene Lewis right now.
Yeah, man. After the 2019 season, had a great year. Was really excited going into 2020, and then everything hit with COVID, and it just slowed things down a little bit. Actually, not a little bit, a lot. It slowed things down the whole world, which was a big adjustment. Just not playing for a whole year, and just kind of like people not really sure what kind of quality of the game that we were going to bring. After we found out we were going to play again in 2021. So, me personally, throughout the whole 2020 season that we didn't have, I was training, just training the whole time and things like that. And then when we found out we actually got the go ahead for the 2021 season. And I was just excited. I was so excited just to get back on the field, get back with my brothers, get back in the locker room. You don't really realize how much you miss something until it's taken away from you. You know what I mean? So, the game was taken away from us for a whole year, and just coming back and adjusting to all the COVID rules and things like that. It was just something that we had to do as a team and as a person. If you wanted to keep playing and keep your dream alive. And then, had this season that we just passed in 2021, another great season. Unfortunately, we didn't get to where we wanted to get to, the Grey Cup, and fell short. Now, after the season this year, I stayed in Montreal, and I've just been kind of embracing, the Quebec lifestyle a little bit, just trying to figure out and understand, how it works a little bit, and just seeing how everybody enjoys this cold, man, in this snow. I'm a palm trees and sun, so I was just say, let me try to make an adjustment to it and try to feel what they feel up here.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about that because I know the team has put out some stuff, and I think you're about to add some extra titles to, after Geno Lewis, wide receiver, it's going to be something else. Maybe a future bobsledder, maybe, but we'll get to that. Geno, when it came to the whole 2021 season, and what we're with you guys living in a bubble and stuff like that, and not being able to interact with fans, and are there any misconceptions or things that fans may not know about what you and your teammates had to go through during the 2021 season? Yeah,
man, it was different because first off, every time we had to take PCR tests every week, 2 times a week. We would have to come in here. Sometimes the lines were super long, just depending on the timing that we had, and we had to sit in here, and it would only be like two like doctors working. So it was it took some time, and, it would get frustrating sometimes that we would have to come in on our day off sometimes, you know what I mean? Because that was just how it worked. And then on top of that, even on game days, sometimes you would get guys who, are waiting on their test results to get back. You know what I mean? And there's a couple times where we had guys that had, false positives, and they would have to take another one and take 2 more to make sure, and things like that. Also, I think a big thing that impacted was the guys not being able to see their families for the first couple of months, man, which I could imagine just tough. some guys are married, some guys got kids, and they weren't able to have their family up here with them. And I think that's hard. That's very hard for some guys because, some people are very family orientated, and, that's part of their big motivation. So I think that definitely was a big thing into it. And just, the fans, like, even with the fans that we had, it was awesome. Like, sometimes you wouldn't even think that it was half capacity. You would think that the whole thing is filled up. But I just feel like with the whole stadium being filled up and things kind of being back to normal and us interacting with the fans, after the game and stuff like that, I think that's a big part of the game. And it's also a big part of how, fans and people get to know who we are and get to tell what type of person that we are. You know what I mean? So I just think it kind of just altered people getting to know, the players, than from in the past.
What about shortened season? Is it different for you when you go in for not knowing it's an 18-game season or 20 games, I guess we could say, because no preseason this past year. How much did not having a preseason hurt the team, do you think, or any players who played in the CFL in 2021?
I definitely think it played a big part. It definitely played a big part. I don't know. I think for me personally, the way I kind of like adjusted to it and set my mind to it was I try to make it like a college season. So, in college we don't have preseason either, but we play 11, 12 games. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to play with. So for me, that's kind of how I switched my mind back. So I kind of switched my mind to think of college and there's no preseason. You got a couple of scrimmages with each other, and then you're right to it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, it's just kind of like I think the mindset going into it, because as a receiver, you're thinking 13 games. 13 games. You're gonna have to really go get that 1,000 yards receiving. You're gonna have to really make sure that you take advantage of all your opportunities. And with 18 games, it's a different mindset. You know what I mean? Just because of that's another 5 games. You know what I mean? So it plays a big difference in just stats. It plays a difference in momentum. It plays a difference in people's health and things like that. You know what I mean? So you kind of gotta give and take with it. But yeah, I think for some guys, especially like other veterans and stuff like that, it definitely played a part. And just seeing all like the Achilles tendons that popped last year before the season even started.
Yeah.
You could just kind of see like, and it was happening in the NFL a little bit too. Just guys getting hurt a lot faster, and it just kind of goes to show either there's not enough time in between, or some guys aren't taking care of their bodies the right way. So it's just kind of about being able to adjust and figure out yourself and your body, and also your organization and your team. Putting you guys in the best position. Making you guys stretching enough. Doing certain workouts. And things like that. That stuff plays a good part in it. So I do think it definitely impacted the game a little bit, for sure. But I think it's going to be good that we can get back to a regular full 18.
Yeah, for sure. Cliff.
All right, now let's talk about 2021. You and Jake Wienecke are basically lighting up the league with touchdown catches.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the chemistry that you have, the both of you have with whomever the quarterback is, because you started out with Vernon Adams, you finished the year with Trevor Harris. Regardless of who you played with, you guys just seem to catch touchdowns. What's the secret for any young wide receivers that are listening right now? What's the secret to catching great touchdowns?
The secret to catching great touchdowns is it doesn't matter, make it happen. That's the key. The key is no excuses. I think this is the thing too with me and Jake. I love playing with Jake so much because we have such a great competitive friendship. Like we love it. Like Jake is one of the most like genuine people I probably ever met in my life. So like I wish you guys, it's crazy because I really wish you guys, like you guys see the game, all the catches that we have in the games. If y'all came to a practice, like some of our practices, and actually seen some of the other catches that we have, you would your mind would go out of your head, man. Like, because it's actually, so the catches that we do in the game, don't get me wrong, like unbelievable. And mind you, the pressure of it and just making those type of plays, and translating from practice to the game, it's very hard. A lot of people, that's one thing it's kind of hard for some people to do. I've been in situations where I've seen some guys, the really good practice players. You know what I'm saying? They're in practice and they're doing all this spectacular things. And then, kind of in the game, you get some guys who they get in the game then, and then they kind of, it's not the same players that you see in practice because, the pressure's not on. It's now everything really, really, really counts. You know what I mean? Like you can't drop it and then be like, oh, my bad, I'm going to come right back because it's third down now. So we're punting, you know what I mean? So, me and Jake, like we compete with each other every day to get each other better, like every single day. And that's all the receivers. Like we do it for all of us. Like me and him go at it just so we can get the other guys to, see what we're doing. And then when they get on the field, they're going to do the same thing. It's just, make it a domino effect. And there's never any bad blood. Like we just want to keep scoring touchdowns and keep making plays and keep giving the fans something exciting to see. Be crowd pleasers, man. That's what the fans came. That's what they paid for. That's what they came to see. So, just catching the rock, man. I've always taken pride in my hands. I always tell people, you can say that I ran a 4.5 but my hands are a 4.2, and everybody knows that my hands are a 4.2 if they had to go on a 40. So that's how I look at it, man.
That's good. And I think, if not mistaken, both you and Jake had top 5 plays for the year for the 2021 in the CFL. You two were down to the best catch by the Alouettes. You guys went head to head in the final. Yep. I swear, I think Cliff will probably agree with me on this one. That catch you had in Hamilton, where you not only, I think it was double or triple coverage, but you lost your helmet. How, as a player, are you able to concentrate like that? Because obviously the helmet is an integral part of your uniform and while you're playing. How are you able to hold on to something like that? It was crazy.
Yeah. So the crazy thing about that is my helmet had popped off a couple times before that game and a couple other games. Which it was just happening. And for me personally, I just like it because you get to show my face a little bit. Football, you don't really get to show your face like that. But,
that's your moneymaker.
Yeah, that's the moneymaker, man. So basically, listen, man, during that play and during that situation, I already had in my mind made up that and this is something I don't think a lot of people outside of football really look at or think about. In that situation, knowing what was going on and knowing the time, I already had told myself, listen, Gene, you got to get to the end zone. And when you get to the end zone, if that ball is anywhere, in the radius of me, you got to go get it. Now, with that being said, in my mind, I'm also telling myself, look, it's a chance that you might go up here and you might catch this and you're going to get flipped 3 times in the air. You might get hit so hard, you might break something. You might hit the ground so hard, you might break, it could go bad. You have to prepare in your mind that, listen, this could go bad. But at that moment and where we were at in the season, we really needed that. We really needed that win. We needed that to flip our season to where we were at. So I just knew, man, listen, I have no fear. I've never had my dad always told me, he said, the reason why I love when you play receiver, because you never had fear going over the middle. No matter where the ball is at, all you see is the ball. You don't see defenders, even if they come and they hit you. And that was it. When I was running and I ran the route, I seen that there was a hole, and I knew the play. I knew the play. If there was any type of little hole and VA got it out in the right time, it was going to be a touchdown. And ultimately, I jumped because I wasn't going to give anybody a chance to bat it down. And I know that nobody's out jumping me, you know what I mean, in the league. So
I agree. At
that point in time, listen, as long as I jump to my highest, point, is no way that this isn't going to work. So, man, coming down, the helmet coming off. A lot of people thought my helmet was the football at first. That's what everybody was on. The football's out, and then they realized, no, he still has the ball in his hand. And hey, man, my thing is, man, to break hearts in times like that, and that's what I did.
Yeah. Now I'm not asking you what the play was, because I'm sure that's still secret to the team, because I'm sure they want to continue to reuse it. Were you the primary read on that play?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I'm a primary dude at the end of any game.
But you know what I mean, Gino. You know what I mean. I mean, initially.
Yeah. That's crazy because the play that we did run, it was a play that we ran, but it was also a play that Coach Kahari kind of mixed up a little bit. The route that Jake was running, he never usually runs that, so it ended up putting us up in the same place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of you don't really know where the ball was going. It's right there. Is it Jake? Is it me? But while I was going up in the air, I need Jake. Jake hit my knee, and he fell and hit my shoulder. So like I said, I'm a ball hog. I'm a ball hog, man, and I'm a go and make the play as much as I can. But I think that's the question you're gonna have to ask Brandon Adams. Who the ball and where it was really going to. So
I'm writing it down right now.
Yeah, go ahead and write that down. And I'm sure he'll give you a good answer too. He'll give you a good answer. So, yeah, that like I said, man, I'm bad ball, good ball. I'm here to make the play. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So.
See, I think that's one thing we would like to see. We know the league doesn't have an all-star game and stuff like that, but you know what, Geno? I think if the league were to put forward something like the skills competition right before Grey Cup or whatever, I can only imagine when Cliff and I watch you on TV, and I'm sure as Alouettes fans do too, we said, get Geno the ball at his top height, and we know Geno will come down with it. So, I mean, it's so.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another reason why I tell people, a lot of people always say like, oh, you're the best 50-50 ball guy. And I don't know what a 50-50 ball is. I know what a 90-10 ball is. I don't like 50-50 balls because 50-50 ball is giving a DB to me too much credit. I can't give you 50% of you're going to knock the ball down. It's 90-10 with me. You know what I mean? So then that's how I've always looked at it. When the ball's in the air, it's mine.
Hey, you know what, Geno? Let him assume. It's a 50-50 ball. As long as you remember it's a 90-10, that's all we got to remember.
Exactly.
Last time I checked, there ain't no 6'3" cornerbacks in the CFL. Well, at least until Deron Carter makes his debut for the Elks.
Deron. Nick Marshall he's pretty tall, man. He always been a pretty tall cornerback. And the other cornerback I probably went up against that was always really tall was Tommy Campbell when he was in the league too. Tommy was a also tall dude. So, but I like that though, man. I like going against big guys because I like getting physical. I like going against smaller dudes because I'm too physical. You know what I mean? It's just you gotta adjust to whoever's in front of you, man. That's it.
Yeah. Cliff.
Now, obviously after that play, you're hyped. Everybody is hyped. I mean, I was turning over chairs in my living room for crying out loud. I was excited, man. But the day after, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sore are you after getting trucked like that? And still hanging on to the ball, mind you, but you took a good lick. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how sore were you the next day?
I did take a good lick, and I'll probably listen, man. Because we won the game and everything went in our favor, it probably was at like a 5 or 6. But if we would have lost, I would have been at a 10. I would have definitely been at a super 10. But I was probably like 5 or 6 sore. You know what I mean? Like I said, I kind of try to take care of my body too during the whole season. You know what I mean? And but one thing I do know after that game, I did know that I gave it my all because like right after the game, I was super sore. I was super sore right after the game for sure.
I'm definitely thinking maybe a few extra minutes in the ice bath.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Now that was I would have to say. I mean, there were so many highlights of the season for you last year, but I would have to say that would be the highlight. But on the other side, what would you say is the one moment that you would have loved to have had back that you was like, oh, that just didn't work the way I wanted it to?
I can tell you, I already know exactly what play and what game. The one that I wish that I could really get back is when we played Calgary at Calgary, and I caught the catch on the 1 yard line, right next to the pylon, man. And it's so crazy too because in that play, me and Vernon literally told each other before the play what we were going to do, exactly what route to run, and exactly how to do it. And really, I'm talking like milliseconds is the reason why that happened. Like, I should have tried. The thing is, when I was running the route, I didn't know how bad I had beat the corner, and he really thought I was running a go route. So when I came back on the comeback, I should have just stopped my body right in front of the pylon and fell out of balance in the end zone. And I didn't know how close he was to me. I thought he was really close on my back. So I just kind of, as a receiver, you're always told to keep coming back to the ball so you can't get it. And ultimately, I did that. I tried to slow myself down. I tried to, put the toes in there, and I got the toes, and it just unfortunately, man, we lost on the 1 yard line, man. So that was probably one that eats at me because I know in 2019 we beat Calgary at Calgary after getting the onside kick after scoring a touchdown. We were down like 11 points with 40 seconds left, came back and won, and it's just those type of moments is the ones that that you gotta as a big time player, you got to make. And that's probably the one that I probably would bring back.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I had. That's what I was thinking too. Is just like you said, it was just millimeters more than anything else. It's just so close. And the way you guys fought back, just like you did back in 2019, you fought back. You willed yourselves, and you damn near did the thing, but just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Hey, Geno, for fans, how tough is that? Because I'm sure you'll have your every Monday quarterback going. He could have just extended his arm and gotten over the pylon, or he could have stopped as a receiver. And how tough is it to make a play like that?
Yeah, like I said, man, everybody can't make plays like that. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of dog as a player, just wanting it more than the other guy. You know what I mean? And dealing. That's some of the things that we deal with as athletes. Like a lot of people don't understand. Like like that next day, it's eating at me just because of this. Is in my mind, I'm saying if I would have just did this, or if I would have just did that, you know what I mean? It would have changed. It would have changed the game, or just changed the perspective. And those are the ones that you got to really, really learn from, because you got to understand that it's probably another situation where you're going to be put in that situation again. And, the next time, you're hoping that you learn from the last time and you figure out how to not make that same mistake again, and you go from there. But, the quarterbacks, and especially, VA, he always has been supportive of me. Like sometimes VA is the guy where, on that play specifically, we talked about it the next day. We literally watched it, for hours. And he was basically telling me, the reason why it probably was a second like that is because during his drop step, as he's dropping in his back pedal, he slips like a little bit, like a little barely bit that if you see it, you see it. And he's like, bro, I think that's really the reason why. Like, I think it was just, I was that little bit a second off. Mm-hmm. And, it's that right there, it just goes to show, like, first of all, I would tell VA, like, listen, I know you could have did that, VA, but I could have just extended my arms and just sat there. So we're both, kind of trying to comfort each other, knowing that we both could have did different things for it to happen. But that's the best part about it, is because now that we're talking about it, now we know how to fix it for the next time,
Yep. Go.
Oh, all right. In regards to VA, I mean, we know what he brings to the table week in and week out. How have you seen his progression grow? Like, I mean, after the amazing 2019 season that you guys had together, and even though his season got cut short in 2021, do you think that you guys were on the same path? Like, did you feel like it was a continuation of the 2019 season, and it was just a couple of bumps in the road, or was it just an evolution of the kind of relationship that you guys have in order to become better football players?
I think it was a mix of both, because if you look at it, when Vernon was in there, we were in first place basically in everything offensively. When he was playing with us, before he was hurt, we were going crazy on touchdowns already. We were going crazy on the yards. So offensively, like we really were doing really well. And honestly, if you go from the certain point that we were at 2021 to 2019, we were probably ahead of schedule on certain things, So I just feel like, Vernon is, I say this all the time because I always have to, give my appreciation and pay homage to the people that, really helped me in my career and get to where I'm at today. Like if it wasn't for Vernon, you guys probably wouldn't know who I am right now. You guys probably wouldn't have heard of me. You know what I mean? Because when I got here in 2017 and I played in that one preseason game, and I got to Montreal with 3 days left for training camp, and I had that one catch from Vernon Adams with one hand that was on TSN top play for like a week or two. That's really what saved me. You know what I mean? That really saved my career. That saved my dream. That saved me from having to do other things in life that I might not enjoy as much as I do playing football. So and then on top of that, just to see where we progressed to now, like. And Vernon, mind you, while I've been in Montreal, he's been other stops. He went to Saskatchewan and went to Hamilton and things like that made his way back here. And I'm just glad that, we were able to have the opportunity to keep, progressing on, the relationship that we have. And just out of football, man, just away from football, like that's really one of my really good friends, man. Like I talk to him every day. We got so much in common that we can just talk about, about his life, about family, growing up. And, things that we go through, things that we struggle with, and things that we can help each other with. You know what I mean? So like I said before, just as much as I'm trying to make VA look good, he's trying to make me look good too. And we're trying to make this team look good. So we really got it out the mud, man. Like, we started this from the mud, man. Like, and I remember being in Montreal when we were going 3-18 and winning 4 games a year. And, you know, we still had fans and everything like that. But I just know, like, we're a big part of, you know, switching this organization around back to where it used to be and where we're trying to get it to. And, you know, being a winning organization and making shots at the Grey Cup every year and you know, playing teams, and they know that, like, they're going to have to come and really beat us. You know what I mean? Competing every day and every week. And, you know, I feel like that's the culture that, you know, definitely me and VA and stand back too. We that's something that we really brought when we got here and that we want to keep continuing and things like that. You know, that's why I'm just appreciative of being around these guys that kind of got the same mindset that I have of, you know, like, no matter what, man, we got to make this happen. And when it's time to make those plays, we're going to make those plays, you know?
Yep. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Was that one of the deciding factors when it came to free agency? Because, again, considering the numbers that you would put up in 2021, I mean, you really could have wrote your own ticket, and maybe in a sense you did. But was that one of the key factors in coming back to Montreal for 2022?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, like I said before, the other thing is too, like, Montreal is all I've known since I've been up here. You know what I mean? And you know, I just want to play football, man. At this point in time, like, I'm grateful to play football. But you're right. You're absolutely right, though. I definitely could have set my ticket after this year. And you know, unfortunately, too, not being able to you know, project markets as perfectly as you want to and things like that, and those type of things that's out of my control. You know, it's just, you kind of gotta. Sometimes you got to roll with the punches, but you also got to know, man, you got to know what you're worth. You know what I mean? You have to know I know what type of player I am. I feel like I'm a premier receiver in this league. I feel like I'm top 2 in this league, and I feel like I'm my film and my stats, you know, they definitely show that. And yeah, man, like I said, I'm just being consistent is the best thing that you can possibly do as a player. And I feel like I've been doing that, you know, the last couple of years, and I'm going to continue to keep doing that. And I just feel like it's so much more in the tank that I have, man, that I'm just excited to, you know, go out there and just keep showing everybody and showing people what I do and, you know, just getting the respect that, you know, I feel like I deserve.
Overall, as you were a free agent this year, and obviously as fans seem to be noticing for the past couple of years, you know, we had the slight modification because of the COVID protocols and the amended collective bargaining agreement. You know, fans hate really renegotiations, but we understand they are really necessary for you guys to get what you're worth. How tough is it going into a 2022 season, but also knowing that the collective bargaining agreement still has to be finalized? I mean, fans may not like 1-year contracts. I will admit I don't like 1-year contracts, but as a player going into a potential new CBA for the following season, how easy is it for you to decide where you want to be and what you want to do with that next season?
I think it's a couple things. I think for one, it's definitely comfort, man. You want to be in a place where, you know, you feel appreciated. You feel like, you know, the things that you're bringing to the table to the team is helping the team. It's going to keep helping them lead in the right direction. Yeah. The CBA, yeah, like you said, the CBA, it's a big thing. And the last time we had a CBA, I want to say it was 2019, because we actually, I remember it was during training camp, and we didn't go to training camp the first couple of days. And hearing the veterans at that time, like, you know, they're basically telling us, like, listen, I know you young guys, like, you guys don't really know not too much about the CBA. You don't really care because you just want to play. But ultimately, we're trying to help y'all for the future, like help y'all, you know, get better things than we got, because that's what we're fighting for. Yeah. And that's kind of that year is kind of when I realized that, like, and I started understanding it. I just remember John Bowman was one of the main guys that was, you know, trying to break it down to us. And I've had conversations with him about it before. And it was kind of like, okay, now I see what's going on. Now where I'm at now, a couple of years later, now I really see and I really understand the CBA and how it's working now, and what it does do for players, and how it does, you know, keep players safe, and, you know, try to protect us in the best that they possibly can. You know, and with that said, though, with that the CBA, a lot of things can change. Just the salary caps can change, and just the outlook on certain organizations on how they see players, and then money changes, the market changes for each position, and things like that. So it's kind of like sometimes you might get guys that sign too early. You might get guys that sign too late. You might get guys that they might have just signed at the wrong time. But it's kind of, some of it is a guessing game, but some of it you can kind of see how it's coming and where it's going. But I just think the CBA we need to protect the players as much as we possibly can, because I just tell people all the time, like in football, man, like none of this stuff is guaranteed, and we go out there and risk our bodies each and every day, practice and everything, and trying to take care of our bodies. And I just feel like as players, we just got to make sure that we are protected, man, and make sure we're all getting treated right, and make sure that if something does happen to a player that you just don't send them off and, good luck to them. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that, because I've seen a lot of guys, that happen to, and it doesn't go well for them, mentally and physically and emotionally. It can really destroy a person, that transition, of just all that stress and things like that. So it's kind of just like, you got to know how to have patience, man. You got to know how to have patience with it. And, as a player, I have learned this. I've seen this now. And it's something that, you just want to kind of make sure that you're making the right decisions for yourself and for your family and, for the organization that you're playing with. So, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. And obviously I wish, whenever fans see, as I said before, whenever fans know that a new CBA is coming up, we're all expecting to have, it's frustrating for fans to see 1-year contracts only signed. Cliff and I obviously were hoping that you would have been signed for more, but whatever the situation was, we fully understand. But we're hoping once the new CBA comes about, 2023 comes about, we got Geno Lewis on an extension for 2-3 years. Hey, we'd be happy with that. We have no problem having you here. Hey, if you were to be, if you could choose, say for instance, if you said, I want to get into, I'm not saying you do, but say for instance, if you became part, the team's representative for the union, as an example, if you could suggest one thing that you think that players need within the CBA that may not be there now, what would it be?
Man, that's a great question. That's a really good question.
I think I'll give you mine. I think guaranteed. I think players need to have some guaranteed money thrown in. I think
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I thought that was, I just thought that was just like you guys were gonna be like, yeah, that's what everybody said. But I honestly feel like that's the main thing. Like, I always sit back and I just look at it like, like me personally, like my career, I've been blessed to where, I haven't had really significant injuries, and I thank God for, putting me in those situations. But I also know how fast and how quick you can get hurt out here. Like, you know what I mean? So, and I just think like some guys, especially young guys, man, like you're not guaranteed that money, and when things go wrong, and sometimes it's out of your control. It's not even your talent. Like sometimes it's not even guys' talent no more. It's just, politics play a big part of the thing sometimes, and this guy wants to see this decision and that guy wants to see this decision. You know what I mean? It can get out of your control, and I just feel like if that's the case, then you should be able to, as a player, if I know that the situation is different and somebody's moving in a different direction, you know what I mean? There should be some guaranteed money, because that's going to make the guys up top think twice about cutting somebody. It's just like when teams fire coaches and they're getting paid for the next 2 years. They're getting paid for the next 2 years, guaranteed. So you know what I'm saying? If you're going to do that to the coaches, why you can't do that with the players? You know what I mean? Because they're playing in the game. So man, I really feel like that's the biggest one, and I think it's always going to be the biggest one until they do something about it, because you got all these other sports, baseball, basketball, that's not as taxing as football, but they're all getting guaranteed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I know, and I agree with you. I mean, and hey, with revenue sharing coming up, and it's going to be interesting, Geno. It's going to be really interesting for fans who really aren't into the to the CBA stuff. To this year, I think will be a very interesting year for the CFL, and obviously, being a guy who isn't in union, Geno, I hope you guys get everything that you're due. So.
Yeah, man, I really do. And the last thing I would just say about that too is, I think the other thing that be good for the players is them getting recognition and pay for their likeness. I think that's huge. I think a a lot of teams make a lot of money off of guys' jerseys and, you know, the little things that they do in the community and stuff like that. Like, the likeness, man, first off, it would help the league so much more because people would know people more. They would know of this guy and that guy, you know what I mean? And
less free agency, too. You won't have, 75% of the players on free agency. Exactly. So I feel like, you know, and obviously you can see down in the States, the NCAA, they're changing that now. You got kids are getting able to get money for their likeness and stuff now. And again, that was what we kept fighting for. We had to fight for them kids to get that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we want to keep fighting for. And hopefully, you know, we can bring that up here too. Cliff, I know we saw Geno this past winter so far take on a few new challenges, and I know you wanted to bring it up because it seems that Geno kind of likes the snow, doesn't he, Cliff?
Yeah, actually, before we get into that though, what made you decide you wanted to stay in Montreal? Because I know a lot of guys, the minute the season's over, they don't want to deal with the cold. They don't want to deal with the snow. They want to go down to where the sun is and all that. But no, you decided you wanted to stay in Quebec during the off season. What led to that decision?
Yeah, so definitely the first reason why is because I actually had my apartment leased for a year. So that was one of the big things. But so I also I just wanted to stay up here because I want to do more in the community. I've been telling everybody up in the office and, you know, just people that I've been talking to around Montreal that I just want to do more in the community. I want to just do more events that people do up here and just embrace the culture a little bit. Kind of just get out of my comfort zone, man, open up my horizon and go outside of the city and go see what's an hour away from Montreal, north and south and, you know, all over. Because that's the other thing too, is like at the end of the day, I also look at it like, you know, I feel like the Alouettes, you know, I know we're in Montreal, but, you know, we kind of represent the whole Quebec. You know, I mean, we're the only team in Quebec. And, just going out to see some of the people on the outskirts, sometimes I feel like they appreciate that. And I feel like that's another part of the fans that we need to go and talk to and reach out to and talk to, because there's a lot of organizations and a lot of companies that, you know, actually love the Alouettes. We haven't been able to communicate or, you know, get in touch with them. And, for us to, you know, finally kind of, you know, put our hand out and, go talk to these companies and collab with them. It's awesome, man. It's so fun. Just going out and meeting new people. And it's also crazy because some of these people actually know me. So it's like, okay, you guys are out here. You guys know me a little bit too. Like, you know, and they get excited and I get excited. So it's just really good to see smile on people's faces, man. And also just help people's companies grow and stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And what led to dog sledding? What made you decide to try out dog sledding?
Yeah. So honestly, the Alouettes, they had a couple of opportunities for me to go do a couple of things, and dog sledding was the first one that popped up. I've never been dog sledding before. I've seen a couple of movies with dog sledding. Wasn't really sure like how it worked, but I knew that like I was going to be able to, you know, adjust to it somehow. So, but I was excited. I really wanted to go see the dogs, man. I love huskies. I think they're one of the most beautiful dogs in the world. It was just a situation where they were excited for me to come. They gave me a whole thing of snow gear to put on before I got out there. Took some pictures, man, and went and seen all the dogs. It was really, really fun, man. My only thing was, what made me nervous was just being on the dog sled and knowing that like I'm on a lake that's just frozen, like a big lake that's just frozen. And if this thing cracks, like I'm going down, you know what I mean? So that's probably the main thing that probably concerned me going through that whole situation.
This is probably something you never had to worry about, even just a little bit, when you were in Norman, right?
Never. I never had to worry about that in Norman. I never had to worry about that in Pennsylvania. It snows in Pennsylvania, so that's the day. That was nothing I ever. The only thing I used to go to the Paluga, which is the Penn State hockey rink that they made when I was there. And that was my first time actually ice skating when I was like 21. I was like 21, first time ice skating. And I never knew like how can you skate on that little metal blade? Like how does that work? And I wear a size 15. So I'm just thinking in my head, like, I don't even know if they make my shoe size in ice skates. But yeah, I ended up doing it that time with my best friend Malik Golden, and I I realized it wasn't as hard as you think you would think it is if you just go out there and try it. So, same with the dog sledding, man. Just went out there, tried it, and had a great time.
I think that
awesome.
the more winters you stay here, Geno, you'll see that when it comes to walking, dog sledding, or even driving on the ice, as long as it's within a certain thickness, you're good to go, man. Because, I will admit I've driven on ice many a time, and it is still the freakiest feeling today. And you still take precautions, man. Your window's down, doors partially open, you got your seatbelt off, and you're like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. if not, this car is about to become a boat. So
yeah, that's it. Just in case. In case.
Now, what about ice fishing? Because I know you're a big fishing guy, and you've been wanting.
Yeah.
The last time we were on the show, you were talking to us about going fishing and that. What about ice fishing? Has that been broached yet?
Yes. So I did go ice fishing. Mind you, fishing in general, you have to have a lot of patience. Just in general, some days you won't catch none, some days you do. Some days it's better than the others. Ice fishing was really new to me. I know how to do regular fishing. I've deep sea fishing before, fished on lakes and rivers and all that stuff before, but the process for ice fishing is different. And it was good. I finally got to learn. I seen the guys literally dig out the holes for them, and I'm just sitting there watching it, like watching the whole situation go on about it. And then, I see them with a little stick, and then they get the line, and there's no reel or nothing like that. So it's like when it's on there, you got to find a way to get it up. It's a little like technique and things like that. But unfortunately, I didn't end up catching any fish. I got a couple of bites where I did feel the fish, and I try to yank it to get it caught in the lip of the fish, but it ended up getting away. And I also just kind of felt like I could just imagine how cold that ice is. So I don't think these fish are just swimming around all over the place like it's like it's beautiful outside. So they probably nibble, and even the bait is probably freezing once they get under there. So they're probably trying to nibble, and it's too hard, and they just keep it moving. But I really did. I had a really, really good time doing that, and they actually let me drive this. It was like a kind of like a 4-wheeler ATV car type of thing, like go-kart type of thing. It was top notch. It was heavy duty, and I got to drive that all over the lake like as fast as I wanted to, and doing donuts and everything in the snow. And that was amazing. They actually surprised me with that. So I was happy to do that. I was happy that they did that, man. They didn't have to do that, and that was awesome.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Now, one of the videos that I saw of you, and I think you were doing some tubing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That I saw that video, and I will admit, I think Cliff and I both saw it, and it scared the crap out of us because we saw you. we saw you get bounced off your tube and very close to hitting an inanimate object, and we were like, "Oh crap! Geno's not wearing a helmet like he normally does." Tell us about
no seatbelts.
Yeah, and no seatbelts either. You're right. Tell us about your experience with tubing.
Oh, listen, the tubing was awesome. So I've been tubing since I was a kid. I've been to a couple of places tubing in Pennsylvania. I've been to like Blue Mountain and Hawk Mountain, things like that. A couple of places like that. And tubing has always been like really fun to me. It's never really been scary because I can jump off whenever I want to on the tube. You know what I mean? So I feel kind of safe. So that tree that you are talking about that was sitting right there. Yes, we did come to a place where we knew that there was a situation with that tree. So we ended up putting like it was another sled that we had, but it was kind of like a boogie board. Okay. And we put that right where the tree was. So just in case we did hit the tree, we would hit the boogie board and then, kind of fall off. But the thing I'm grateful for is that I have great body control. So I see the tree and I see what you guys see. I seen it because I see people coming down. I seen other people coming down. But first off, just walking up that hill that they had was crazy. They ended up giving me some snowshoes too, just to go make sure I could get up the hill and stuff. That was my first time wearing snowshoes. And Yeah, man, it was such an adrenaline rush. I probably went down the hill probably like 10 times because there was nobody else there. They just said, "Here, take the tubes. You can just go as many times as you want." So like it was like being a little kid and not having to wait in no lines. You know, you just keep going.
That's amazing.
So yeah, man, it was fun though, man. But you know, I'm always taking precaution, man. I'll never do something that I really feel like I'm going to hurt myself. You know what I mean? So, but I appreciate the concern that you did have for me, man.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I know what you're seeing. What you're saying to me, I know exactly what you're feeling. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, like, you're dealing with all these defenders, and you got no problems against them. Like you said, the 90-10 ball, that's all you. But I mean, when you're going up against a tree or a boogie board or whatnot, like all bets are off.
Well, you know what? Listen, I got a lot of you know my encouragement and to do that because when I was at Penn State, I had a teammate. His name was Anthony Vettel. He played with the Detroit Lions for a little while, and I think another team. But he actually had a video some years back, probably like a year after he had left college or something like that, or a year before. He's from Michigan, and I remember he was back home and he was training, and he made a video of it was a tree in front of him, and he tackled the tree and broke the tree. Like tackled it, broke the tree, it went down. And I'm like, all right, that's crazy.
Now,
wow.
Did the team get you to do anything else? Did you cross country ski? Did you downhill ski? Did they suggest anything else to you that you had a chance to do, but you said, nah?
Nah, not yet actually. So no, I'm not really. So I'll tell you this too. I'm not a big ski dude. I'm not a big ski guy. I'm more of I'm a snowboarder.
Okay.
I'm not the best snowboarder, but I've done it, you know, a couple of times. I actually went to Aspen, Colorado in 2020 or 2020. Yeah, 2020. And I actually went and snowboard on those Black Hawk Mountains up there, which was crazy. I actually would recommend people to do other. if you're not like a pro, a top notch guy, you go to somewhere else where they're not as big. That's a different level. Even for me, it was a whole different level. But it's crazy. Actually, I even a couple weeks or probably like a month ago, Terrell Sutton, he's out here. His family's out here,
mm-hmm.
and I went sledding with him and his family at a park because I didn't realize that the parks are out here. They let you rent tubes for free,
mm-hmm.
and they literally already have like the lanes for each place you can go down. Like it's beautiful to see because I'm not gonna lie to you, like back home where I'm from, you don't see that a lot, especially them letting you rent, just take the tubes for free and then just bringing them back and stuff like that. Like I just think that's beautiful, for the opportunity for these kids to go out there and do that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's I'll make a suggestion for the future to do tubing because they have tubing not only for just one person, but they also have this giant
2 people.
Yeah. Oh no, they have one for like 4 or 5, Geno. It's like a boat.
Is it the big circle?
Yes. Yeah. And if you head over to, it's like Saint Sever, which is like 45 minutes northwest of Montreal. Okay. There's they have a place that I've been to, and it's just so much fun. Hey, come on, Alouettes. You know what to do. It's time to have a season ticket day with the players. Let's all go tubing.
Yeah.
Hey.
That sounds like a good plan right there.
Yeah. We'll get Geno on the ice.
Yep. Yeah. Do it all.
So, and since we know you can skate, we'll just get you into a Montreal Canadiens practice. You can give them a hand because Lord knows they could use the help.
I'd love that.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'll go help them out. I want to help out the new Montreal Alliance basketball team that's coming to real. It's crazy. I'm actually really excited for that. I'm a big basketball guy, man. So, and actually the president, I think of that is Annie, who used to be with the Montreal Alouettes.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and she was actually my when I was doing my internship with the Alouettes at the Shriners Hospital and stuff like that. She was actually like my manager. She was the one that set everything up for me, and everything like that too. So. I'm actually really happy for her, man. I'm happy that they're bringing the team to Montreal for basketball. I feel like that's well overdue. I feel like that's something that is going to help the city, and I think that's dope that they're able to do that, man, I would love to, just get in connection with them too, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if you've been to the arena over at Verdun Auditorium, Geno. It's a quaint little place. The last time I was there for non-NBA basketball was when we had a team in a Canadian league back in like 2002 or something like that. But it's a quaint little place to watch basketball. Should be fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I definitely got to get over there to check some games out, man, for sure. I just kind of want to see how the process in that, like, and how they do the whole basketball thing up here, man. I've always been like interested in that too, like very, very much, just because I was a great basketball player too, and my whole family plays basketball. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like I said before, I just feel like collabing. Hopefully the Alouettes and the Montreal Alliance, they can come and collab and do something together. Maybe have a charity game. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a charity game. It's a lot of guys on it. Like in 2019, me, DeVere Posey, Enoch, we actually played in a celebrity game. We played in a charity game at the end of the season. I forget, it was at a CJEP, and I forget which one it was, but it was actually the day that Kobe died. It was the same day that Kobe died, which was crazy. But we had a good time, and they raised a good amount of money for the situation that they had going on. So yeah, man, it's stuff like that I feel like it just be really good,
That's cool. But
all right, well, there you go. That's something the team. I know they're listening, so there you go. You got Geno's. Geno's. Let's speak into existence.
Yeah, there we go.
Exactly.
What's the one winter sport that you have not done yet that you would like to try?
The one winter sport that I have not done.
Bobsledding, hockey, luging, skeleton.
Honestly, listen, I'll tell you like this. I never really watched hockey too much, but I've always appreciated, because I had pads on, so I know what it's like to have pads on, but I don't know what it's like to have pads on with ice skates and guys flying past you like that. I know what it's like to be running, but I always just love, and it's just me, I used to love fights in hockey, man. Like, I felt like that was such the funnest part of hockey, because you don't see people score too much, but I used to love the fights. I used to love seeing dudes get smashed up against the window, and I'm a type of guy where I love contact, so like, I would love that type of stuff. Like, if you coming to hit me like that, that's fine. Like, you can come try to hit me as hard as you can. And I would definitely try hockey. I think, like I said, it's definitely a difficult sport, because you got pads on, a helmet, you got a stick, and you're trying to hit this little black puck, and you got guys trying to hit you over. You got guys, and then you got your team are still making plays and stuff like that. Like, there's a system to it. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
I would definitely love to just go out, and I see people at, like, they get like a little skate rink, and they just go have fun and stuff like that. I would love to just do that. You know what I mean? And see how that is.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to be goaltender, though. I think like kickers, they're a rare breed. They're very special.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to be a goaltender, but it's crazy, because when I was in high school, I remember the soccer coach at my high school, they kept begging me, like, they're like, please just come play goalie. You don't really have to come to all the practices. We know you're in football. Like, listen, just come play goalie. You're long, athletic, and you got great instincts. So a lot of people won't be able to get the ball. And I was just always like, yeah, I hear you, but I also know how fast them soccer balls are coming, and I see how thick them gloves are that you guys have to put on. So I love my hands too much, so I think I'm a pass.
Well, at least the goalies are allowed to touch the ball in soccer, whereas as soon as you stop the puck in hockey, that stops the game. So that's right. There's a learning curve.
Right.
All right, Geno, we've taken up more than enough of your time, but I just want to kind of tie this all together. 2022 season's coming up. I mean, there's definitely some changes, but I get the feeling with the Alouettes, like, there's a sense of getting the band back together and keeping the nucleus together with the moves that have been made so far. Obviously, Grey Cup is the goal. Personally, for you, though, Geno, what are you looking forward to most in 2022?
What I'm looking for most in 2022, I'm really just looking for us to take the next step. Take that next step, man. Getting into the playoffs and not not getting knocked out on the first round. You know what I mean? I feel like we've been together enough now to where, you know, it's time for us to really make that next jump as players, you know, especially like the veteran guys that have been around here. And it's also just time for us to just, you know, just be disciplined, man, and do the right things and just going out there competing, man. I love going out there competing, you know, during camp, you know, with new DBs and teaching new receivers and stuff like that, and just seeing the new guys so you can tell is like, okay, man, they're going to be a problem. Like, because I remember it was guys that looked at me like that at one point in time. So just going out there, man, you know, trying to just play hard and definitely just, you know, just putting everybody in the right position to be successful. You know what I mean? I want to see Coach Kahari be very successful this year, man. I know all the work that he's put in and, you know, the things that he's done, you know, for this organization too. So, you know, just going out there, man, and him leading us and you know, just getting the whole fans excited and just not having to, hopefully, God willing, not having to deal with all the COVID restrictions, man. So, you know, hopefully when those go away, we can really, you know, open this thing up.
There you go. I couldn't ask for anything more than that myself. So that's perfect. I think that's a very attainable goal. And I think that one that I think we can all reach together.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. We're looking forward to seeing you, Geno. I mean, it's you and all the other players on the field for the first time. We know training camp is slightly earlier this season, but you know what? Hey, I think the Owls just put out, we're 2 months away from training camp. Hey,
yep.
Get those rookies, you know, in, get the vets in. Let's see you guys on the field because the 2022 season will be upon us a lot quicker than we actually expect. But Geno, we appreciate everything, man. You're always a great interview. We love chatting with you. You are one of the stars of the Montreal Alouettes, and we're really proud to have you on the podcast as always. And hey, nothing but the best for you, man.
Hey, thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate it. And like I said, man, I appreciate talking to you guys all the time, man. You guys always been good to me, man. And like I said, man, I wish nothing but the best and blessings for you guys and the podcast. And, you know, hey, man, we'll do it again at some point, you know? For sure, man. For sure. As usual. I mean, it may be only the second time in for Geno, but it's great talking to him. And, you know, as much as we talked online that you guys heard about, actually, you know, during the interview, there was a lot of stuff that we were able to talk about offline that really just makes me more impressed with Geno every day. And just hearing the type of guy that he is and how serious he is about football and his team and just, you know, he just wants to win a championship, man. That's really what it is. He just wants to win a championship. Not just win a championship, but win a championship here in Montreal. Yeah. He is laser focused on bringing a title back to Montreal, and he's going to do it or die trying. That's pretty much the mindset he's got, and that's what everybody's got to have. That's going to be a part of the Alouettes team this year. Is you got to be in the mindset of, I want to bring a championship back to Montreal. Yeah. Because if you can do that, my goodness, like you are going to be loved beyond belief, not just by us, but by so many people here in Montreal and even league wide. I think there's a groundswell. You know, like people talk about the Alouettes and how much fun they are to watch, like how watching an Alouettes game has become must-see TV. It started in 2019. Again. Yeah. It started in 2019. For the most part, it carried on into 2021. And if Montreal can get that momentum, get that spark back, that buzz that they had, where people are like, holy crap, the Alouettes are playing. Did you see what they're doing? They're coming back from a crazy, you know, they're down by a lot and they're coming back from this, or making these exciting plays happen, or just doing something that like just has everybody up and out of their seats. If they can maintain that, if they can re-energize people with that energy, get them excited, get them talking about Alouettes football here in Montreal again and talking about it league-wide, reminding everybody that, hey, the Montreal Alouettes are a pretty fun team to watch. You should be paying attention to them. To me, that's what's going to count, and that's what's going to make things even better. That's what's going to make the experience here in Montreal so much better. I mean, that's the key, is you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep evolving. And I think that's what this team has to do. I think that's just got to be their focus. And I'm pretty sure as the weeks and months go by, as we get into training camp and as we get into finding out who is actually going to be a member of this 2022 football team, who is it that's going to step up and become a star, or who is currently a star, and who is going to take it themselves to become a superstar. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking forward to more than anything else as the springtime starts, is who on this team is ready to go to the next level, whether it's someone in their first year, second year, or a seasoned veteran.
What are they doing to make this football team the most exciting team in the league? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to see out of everybody. And I'm hoping that from this moment here, right now that you and I are talking, all the way to training camp, that's what my focus is. I want to see who's going to step up and take things to the next level here in Montreal.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And that, even more so, we know the dates of everything. We know rookie camps open May 11th. We know training camp is slated to open, May 15th. We still have to remind everybody this is a CBA year. Everybody has to be reminded of that. Once they ever get talking, it's hopefully the streak continues where there's never been a strike/lockout in CFL history. And you and I, I'm sure every CFL fan hope that stays the course. I'm ready, man. We may not have our usual Victoria Day Monday to go and sit and watch the guys, but I can tell you, May 11th with rookie camp opening up. Boy, oh boy! What day is that? I want to put it in my calendar. What day is that?
Well, and also let's not forget too, the week before,
it's
May 3rd.
Wednesday, May 11th.
Wonderful Wednesday. Let's not forget May 3rd, the CFL is going to be having not one, but two drafts. They're going to have the global draft.
I know.
And the CFL national draft. I mean, that's going to be very interesting to see, how they're going to be able to swing both drafts in one day, and what they're going to do to try and get people excited about it, if anything, because let's face it, I mean, the draft is kind of take or leave for a lot of fans, which I understand.
I know. And I've said it many a time. I'll probably say it again. You're more the draft guy than I am, but that's just how we are in football, so.
No, but I mean, again, it's still yet another avenue for people to get excited about their football team. And that's how I've always looked at it. And that's how I'll always look at it is, what are they doing? Especially too with this global draft, because it's not just, it's players from all over the world essentially that are going to be eligible. And we managed to nab a couple of pretty good players in last year's draft. So, can the Alouettes strike gold again? I guess you'll have to tune in on May 3rd and find out, folks.
Yeah. And the Alouettes, just for those who don't know, the Alouettes had the 4th pick in round 1. They got the 4th pick in round 2, so they're pick number 13, and the 24th pick in round number 3. So
it is crazy to think, Tim, that the Alouettes have a first-round draft pick.
Oh, see that in itself.
It has been a long time since the Alouettes have been able to say that they can draft in the first round.
Yeah,
I mean, and again, it's great. I'm curious because there's going to be some really good talent out there. We'll find it. We'll talk about it eventually in the weeks to come. As I said, I'll start mentioning who I think the Alouettes should be taking a look at as far as the future goes. I'm curious. Now the Alouettes are in a great position. I mean, they're going to be drafting in the first round. They can start really truly looking at some of the top tier talent that's out there and say, hey, I think he'd look good in Alouettes blue and red. Mm-hmm. Let's make that happen. So, folks, I mean, even if you're not really up on the draft and all that stuff, we'll get you up to speed as best we can, and we'll get you excited for these guys as well.
Exactly. And you're talking about the we've already had the Ontario Regional Combine, the Eastern Regional Combine that was held over in Bay d'Urfé. We have the Western one coming up, and then we have the main combine, which is going to be March 25th to 27th, and most likely watch those guys because I'm sure a lot of those guys will be eligible for will be the names that you're going to be looking for in the CFL draft. So
absolutely, this is their chance to show up and show out. You're going to have scouts from all 9 teams paying attention to what you're doing. So this is your job interview, folks. This is your audition, if you will. Mm-hmm. So to me, I've always found it interesting and fascinating, and I'm curious to see what great Canadian talent is going to be made available for the combine. And I'm sure there's going to be a couple of names that you maybe not have considered or even heard of, but all of a sudden they're going to have an amazing combine, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I could see him playing for this team. And then you just got to hope that Danny Mac feels the same way. He belongs here too. So
exactly.
This is part of the fun. It's all speculation at this point, folks, but man, it is so much fun to do.
Oh, I agree. And we have many more shows many more shows to do this season. So, and I'm just glad we're back, Cliff. I'm glad to have you again as my co-host for the 7th straight year. And obviously, we're glad to have you, the listeners, listen to us. So, the only thing that we ask you for 2022 is make sure, if you know somebody who might be interested in listening and hear people talking about the Alouettes, please let them know about us. We're on social media. Point it out to them, and send them our direction, because we just love growing the Alouette Flight Deck crew. So
absolutely, as I've always said, if there's something on the show you don't like, tell us. If there's something on the show you do like, tell a friend. As I said, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell a family member, tell anybody. Let people know about the show. If they don't know about it, if they're not subscribed, they're not checking us out, please help us spread the word. Help us make this podcast into what we want it to be. And we want it to be one of, if not the best opportunity for you to get to know, learn, and appreciate your Montreal Alouettes. Like, this is the opportunity to do it. We want to be able to be there to help you to make this team your team. We're here for you. We're here to entertain. We're here to inform. We are here for you, the listeners.
Exactly. And lastly, do not forget. I mean, if you want to rep our merch, please do so. One of the hottest things currently on our website is the minimalist Big O shirt. It is a conversation starter. That's all I can tell you. I mean, it's currently available at our store. That's over at teespring.com/stores/Owls Flight Deck. And there are many other different pieces of merchandise there, including the rewind tee, which I got my hand on, by the way, Cliffy. So nice. And that minimalist tee. Oh, the questions and I've gotten from people asking about that. So many people. You can get your hands on it too. Absolutely.
And folks, I mean, the customer service is fantastic. The products are great. I mean, we rock them every chance we get. We've got people all worldwide, believe it or not, worldwide, that are wearing Alouettes Flight Deck merchandise. It is so cool. We appreciate each and every one of you that has bought in with us. It is so awesome to see. It's so awesome to know that other people are repping the podcast near and far. It is so cool. So, folks, definitely check it out. I mean, you got to show the Alouettes some love. Show the boutique the love as well, but show us a little love too. And we definitely appreciate each and every one of you that does.
Exactly. So, unless something breaks over the next 13 days, we will see you back here in 2 weeks. Again, we're glad you're back for the 7th season of the Alouettes Flight Deck. So, for everybody here at the Flight Deck, for Cliffy D, I'm Tim Capper. We're on Final Approach.